Kevin Durant's career and legacy are about to be torn apart. And it all kicked off on February 19th, 2026. Sources say right after the Rockets vs. Hornets game, KD got into it with a fan who blew up his secret life. But that was just a spark, because what came next hits three ways nobody saw coming. The leaked KD files, a $90 million drone deal pulling him into global controversy, and the 24-hour Vanishing act that had the NBA knocking on his door. Look, we've all watched KD go at fans on Twitter. At this point, that's just his warm-up routine. But what popped off after that Hornets game was something completely different. On the court, KD was handling business like only he can, cooking them. 35 points, 14 of 20 shooting, looking every bit like the 7-foot problem we've watched for 2 decades. But while the numbers were clean, the atmosphere inside Spectrum Center was poison. The burner account runners had crawled off the internet and into real life, and the fans came ready. Soon as that final buzzer hit and the Rockets walked away with a 105-101 victory, KD turned toward the tunnel. No jersey swap, no smooth exit, just chaos waiting for him. One fan, clearly somebody who spent his whole pregame buried in the KD files, started going off about the burners, calling KD a coward, calling him a little boy for sliding into fake profiles just to clown his own teammates. Normally, KD flashes that smirk and keeps stepping, but not this time. KD freezes, spins around, ditches his security, gets right up in this guy's face, nose to nose, looking ready to snap. It got so loud and so wild that for a moment, everybody in that building thought they were about to watch a 15-time All-Star actually swing on a fan. Rocket security had to force themselves between the two, practically carrying KD toward the locker room. But even getting dragged away, KD was still reaching back, trying to get that last shot in. That's when the fan dropped a line that hit different. Yeah, hide like a little boy the way you do with your burner accounts. And just like that, KD's whole face changed. The anger was gone. What was left was something way worse. He looked caught, like a man watching his own walls cave in around him. And here's where it gets even messier, because just days before that game, KD had already tried to kill the rumors when Houston Chronicles' Varun Shankar asked him straight up about the burner account and the leaked DMs. And this is what he said.
I know you gotta ask these questions, but I'm not here to get into Twitter nonsense.
But watch the body language. Normally when KD is cool, he's relaxed, unbothered. But in this clip, he's fidgety, eyes darting toward the exit, doing that thing people do when they're caught alive but have too much to lose to admit it. And if you think this was just a one-time heat-of-the-moment thing, you are dead wrong. This has been building for weeks. Just look at the Detroit game on January 23rd. Rockets versus Pistons. Same weird defensive energy, same short fuse. That night, a fan courtside said something to him, and KD absolutely lost it. And according to rumors, that fan was also talking about the burner accounts, which raises one big question. If he's truly innocent, why is he going off on everyone who brings it up? This is a man with 2 rings, an MVP, and more money than some small countries. Why does he care what a random fan thinks? Because the fans aren't just guessing anymore, they're hitting a nerve. And trust me, you have no idea how deep this rabbit hole goes. Because while those fans just wanted a viral clip, there was a much bigger and much shadier digital trail quietly bleeding out for weeks. Earlier this year, a random guy on X dropped what people are now calling the KD files. This wasn't some hater throwing shots either. It was a coordinated hit that turned a simple drone argument into one of the biggest scandals in NBA history. See, KD has a $90 million stake in a drone company called Skyo. Usually that's just boring rich people stuff, but when fans called out the company for allegedly shipping surveillance drones to the IDF, KD jumped on his main account to defend himself, and within minutes, a burner account called Geiger77 started moving like a paid bodyguard in the replies. Same aggressive logic, same weirdly specific financial defense. So synchronized it felt like a glitch in the simulation. That's all a user named BasedFrog23 needed. This guy had been sitting on a goldmine of private group chat messages, and the second Katie's main went quiet, the Katie files dropped. And the proof was too obvious. On Katie's actual birthday, people started trolling the burner, sending "Happy birthday, bro," and the account was out there liking the tweets. Kept liking them for a solid few minutes before panicking and unliking everything, like the whole world didn't just see it. Then there's the owl incident. Back in 2021, Katie posted a super specific high-res owl pic on his main account. 2 hours later, the burner updated its header to the same owl. Same crop, same lighting, same everything. And the following list? Every single person following that burner also followed by the real KD. But the sloppy mistakes are just the funny part. The actual content of those leaks, that's where things get serious. He called Westbrook a triple-double bear. He went after Steph Curry, calling him a frontrunner who can't lead without a 7-footer. But the most explosive leak was how he talked about his own teammate, Jabari Smith Jr., calling a 20-year-old kid who grew up with KD's poster on his wall the R-word, saying he couldn't shoot and was blocking his path to another MVP. He even went after his old Phoenix crew, comparing Frank Vogel and Devin Booker to dictators because their leadership was too authoritarian. You have to wonder, how does a man with this much success still carry this much hate for the people he's supposed to be winning with? Then, after that altercation, something changed. Instantly. Katie didn't just stop tweeting, he vanished, completely off the grid. And for a guy who basically lives on his phone, that's a massive red flag. The silence got so loud that the league allegedly panicked. Sources say the NBA dispatched a security team for a literal wellness check. Think about that. You're a top 5 player of all time, and the league has to knock on your door to make sure you haven't lost it. Half the people are saying it was a genuine mental health crisis. The other half say KD was locked in a room with a swarm of lawyers trying to figure out if those leaked DMs and that drone deal were about to destroy his legacy. Adam Silver and the Rockets stayed completely silent, which makes the whole thing even more suspicious. But if you think the 24-hour disappearance is the end of the story, you're wrong. Because while KD was hiding out, the scandal exploded from a Twitter rumor into a full-blown crisis, and the league's biggest voices were already picking sides. Usually, when a superstar is going through it, players do that brotherhood thing and protect their own. Not this time. The vibe shifted from "let's see the proof" to "yeah, he definitely did it" the second Draymond Green opened his mouth on his podcast. Draymond didn't even try to be subtle. He basically called KD a coward for hiding behind the Twitter excuse. Said if someone accused him of trashing his own teammates, he'd be screaming from the rooftops that it wasn't him. The fact that KD just sat there doing that weird fidgety non-denial makes him look guilty.
When things come up about me, or I like to address either it's me or it's not me. And I personally just don't think that this is something that you can just allow people to decide what they want to decide, because it involves so many other people.
Draymond even joked that walking into the Rockets locker room right now must feel like a Key and Peele sketch. Just picture the pure awkwardness of KD trying to high-five Jabari Smith Jr. while everybody in that building knows there's a screenshot of him calling the kid the R-word. Total disaster for their chemistry. Then you've got Bill Simmons treating this whole thing like a psychological study. He dropped the theory that KD is literally addicted to digital dopamine. His take, KD is so deep in internet culture that he actually gets a high from arguing with randoms. It's not even about basketball anymore. It's about validation. He needs to know that some random account thinks he's better than Steph. And if he can't get that on his main account without looking insecure, he just makes a new one. The only person really holding it down for KD right now is Gilbert Arenas. Gil went on his show and basically called the whole thing a deep state plot against KD. His logic? The evidence is too perfect. He thinks it's a setup because nobody would be dumb enough to use the same header on a burner and a main account.
The nigga who leaked it is the person behind it. If you look at these tweets and you look at how Kevin Durant texts this, it's not the same person. Alpy. Who says Alpy?
Gil is out here screaming that people are blowing this way out of proportion, trying to take down a legend. But even his own co-hosts look like they weren't buying it. And the tension is at an all-time high because the Rockets are currently third in the West, and this is supposed to be their title or bust year. You've got Ime Udoka, a coach with zero tolerance for distractions, trying to manage a locker room where his franchise player is allegedly trashing the young core. Every time the Rockets lose now, the cameras aren't looking at the scoreboard. They're looking at the bench to see if Jabari and KD are even making eye contact. But here's why everyone is so quick to believe this leak. Because this feels like a sequel to a movie we've already seen. You cannot understand the 2026 crash out without going back to the blueprint, back to 2017. KD was on top of the world, fresh ring, finals MVP, but the internet was still calling him a snake and a cupcake for leaving OKC. Most people with that much hardware would just go on vacation. But KD, he was in the trenches. He replied to a random critic on Twitter, but messed up the login. From his verified account, he typed that he didn't like the organization or playing for Billy Donovan, then followed it up with the line that became an instant Hall of Fame meme. KD can't win a championship with those cats. In his mind, he was on the burner. He wasn't, and his defense was almost as wild as the tweets themselves. Tried to play it off as just engaging with fans, called the tweets childish and idiotic, but refused to admit he had a list of burner accounts. From that moment, the sensitive superstar label wasn't just a joke anymore. It was his identity. Every positive comment about KD suddenly felt like a plant, and that reputation followed him from Golden State to Brooklyn to Phoenix. At this point, KD's legacy is built on a decade of being one of the most difficult superstars in sports history. After a 3-1 loss to the Warriors, he signed with the very team that just humiliated him. A move so widely hated, it put him on the same level of scrutiny as LeBron's decision in 2010. But while LeBron's move was about power, KD's felt like a surrender. Then he bolted from the Warriors the second things got weird. Went to Brooklyn with Kyrie and Harden, the biggest super team flop in league history. Then started demanding trades like he was ordering DoorDash. First the Suns, then Houston in June 2025. The whole league already knew his pattern. Joins a team, gets bored or frustrated, then nukes the locker room on his way out. And the Twitter thing? That's beyond a hobby now. Like Bill Simmons said, it's an addiction. During All-Star Weekend, while every other star was laughing and dapping each other up, KD was physically isolated. There's even a viral clip of him hunched completely over, back curved, staring into his phone like his life depended on it. The funny thing is, he's actually admitted it before. During a post-game interview, KD was asked straight up if he preferred video games or Twitter, and this was his response.
I'm gonna go Twitter. Because they don't deserve to hear this God level like talk I'm giving to them.
Think about the ego it takes to call your own toxic tweets godlike talk. At this point, basketball feels like his side job. His real career is being a Twitter influencer. And if you trace things back through league history, KD isn't even the first person caught up in a burner account scandal. The gold standard is still Brian Colangelo and the infamous Collargate back in 2018. Remember when the Sixers president got caught using a fleet of burners to trash Joel Embiid's conditioning and leak confidential medical info just to protect his own ego? That was the benchmark. But KD has somehow made it worse. Because Colangelo was a suit, KD is a top 20 player of all time. When a guy with that much talent starts moving this messy, it changes the way you look at the entire sport. It forces you to stare into the dark psychological side of being truly great. Because why does a 15-time All-Star feel the need to hide behind the fake profile picture to come for his own teammates? Honestly, I think it's the loneliness of the modern superstar. Back in the day, Bird, Magic, and Jordan would just talk trash to your face, shower, and go home. They didn't need a digital dopamine hit at 3 a.m. from a random person in Nebraska. But the modern era is different. These guys are hyper aware of their legacy every single second, and more insecure than we've ever seen. KD is basically a man who wants to be a regular person with regular opinions, but his fame is a prison he built for himself. He wants the freedom to be toxic without the consequences. And honestly, this whole scandal confirms every negative thing people ever said about his move to the Warriors in 2016. It proves that despite the rings and the MVPs, he's still that same guy, still chasing a version of himself that doesn't exist. The walls aren't just closing in on KD, they're closing in on the way we view the entire league. And if one of the greatest pure scorers we've ever seen is this miserable, what does that say about the rest of the NBA?